I can't see anything about a Newcastle bid. Is it Fabrizio Romano? Is it David Ornstein? Oh, it's Keith from Sky Sports. Oh, Keith. Keith from Sky Sports. Here we go. Good old Keith from Sky Sports. Never heard of him. Keith Downey, North East reporter for Sky Sports. Newcastle have made a formal bid to Leipzig for Benjamin Sesko. Their bid is €75 million plus 5, which matches Leipzig's valuation, 65.5 plus 4.3. Newcastle have presented their vision to the Slovenian striker and made it clear they want the deal to happen. Sesko is considering the situation, with Manchester United also at the table. He is open to both projects. And this is from Keith Downey and another journalist called Amar Mehta, who is also a news editor for Sky Sports. Wow. You know what? I'll sit back down then. If you'd told me it was Keith and Amar, I'd have been like, oh my God. I actually don't care. Like, I really don't care for Sky Sports and their up. Imagine believing Sky Sports, says Daniel, exactly. It ain't 2017.
What's going on, guys? It's Adam P and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. I don't believe it. It's been so long, but we are making a positive Newcastle United transfer news video. I forgot that feeling, so I feel quite good today now that I've seen all the stuff going on in the background. And as you just saw in the little intro snippet there, United stand, well, Mark Goldbridge versus Keith Downey. Not the beef I felt like I would be seeing in social media, but Mark Goldbridge, for whatever reason, calling Keith basically a nobody, just looking at the fact that he doesn't know who Keith is, doesn't believe in Keith's sources, and just said, well, it's Keith Downey posting this, I'm not interested. And all of a sudden, as predicted, journalists across the world have followed through with Keith Downey's report that it is correct. Newcastle United have placed around a £70 million bid on Benjamin Sesko, which, by the way, is our most expensive bid ever. Straight up, that's our most expensive bid we've ever dumped on a player. We clearly want to bring Sesko in, and especially how quick this has been since the Liverpool bid on Isak was rejected yesterday. Newcastle clearly not messing around, clearly trying to wrap things up, and now there's a real confidence within Tyneside that they feel like Benjamin Sesko could be the guy that comes in. Of course, we are still neck and neck with Manchester United. Both teams have got the money in there. Both teams want to sign Sesko. It is a straight choice for the player. Which one do you pick? Which club do you go to? And we are here on this video to get through it all. If you guys are new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoy the content. Appreciate your support as always. Just on the topic of the Keith Downey beef. Keith, you are a legend, by the way. I've seen him on social media with Mark back and forth arguments, and Keith is just whipping him a new one. And you have to say fair play to Keith, because Mark, to be honest, now even if you're not a Newcastle fan, Mark was just a bit harsh on Keith. I don't think Keith deserved to be almost talked down on like that during the live streams. Felt a bit unnecessary. So Keith obviously is getting one back over him, and so be it. But this back and forth beef is hilarious. I will not deny it. I've had a good time reading through it. Shock horror. But the cat has dragged back in. Alexander Isak is already on his way back to Tyneside after that rejected bid from Liverpool yesterday. At the time, it has been reported by journalists that Liverpool one bid and one bid only, and now they are out, at least for now. And already, Alexander Isak is on his way back up to Newcastle. He hasn't got his way, and his agent hasn't got his way. You want to leave this football club, do it in our terms, not yours. Get back to that training ground. Go and do the work you are meant to be doing. You are a contracted Newcastle United player. So you do what Eddie Howe and what the Public Investment Fund tells you to do. No more of this BS and walking out in the club. No more of this going on strike stuff. You will leave when Newcastle gets these replacements sorted. We get Sesko and we get a second striker. Then you can go. Until then, stop this crap. Stop trying to force me out of this football club and get your ass back to that training ground. Yeah, the second he knew he hasn't got his way, he's already coming back up Newcastle. So hopefully now, at least until we have everything sorted out, Isak's going to cooperate, he's going to work with the club, and he's going to work with Eddie Howe, because what a joke of a couple of weeks this has been with him. And the second he knew it's all over, already on his way back to Newcastle, no shock whatsoever. He's got himself to blame for this one. And as for Benjamin Sesko, he is not a part of the matchday squad against Atalanta tonight. Sesko is completely out of that squad. Newcastle have now lodged around £70 million in an initial bid to try and bring the player in. Neck and neck with Manchester United, it is up to the player which club he wants to join, especially from the journalistic side of things. It's always been Manchester United, then Newcastle, then Manchester United. It doesn't seem to be a clear explanation on which club the player would rather move to. Surely you have to look at Newcastle in terms of what club he would join. Got Champions League football now, have a better team now, and maybe in a completely unorthodox move, maybe Newcastle sign Sesko and try and convince Isak again to stay. Not even sign two strikers, just use Sesko and Isak and try and figure out a way to keep a hold of him for 12 more months. Eddie Howe has continued in the press conference and he's done as good as a job he could have done and making sure Isak is still happy here. But has the damage already been done? I've discussed this in an earlier video on why I believe it has and why I believe getting that second striker and then selling Isak for good money this window is the more important matter out of the two. But maybe Newcastle just want Isak to stick around. Newcastle want to keep their best players. Newcastle want to make sure a partnership of Isak and Sesko, that's going to bag you a lot of goals this season. So maybe Newcastle might do an unpredicted move of just trying to keep Isak and then signing Sesko just to make sure we have the Isak problem covered for next summer. But when you look at the situation, can Newcastle convince Sesko? Can Newcastle sign Sesko? We certainly think so, because otherwise we wouldn't be in this topic in the first place. And when you even look at Romano's post about it, he talks about the matchday side of it. He has to be the most biased, corrupt journalist out there. I mentioned how anti-Newcastle he is. Just look at the state of that tree. Has not even acknowledged Newcastle's put a record-breaking bidding for Sesko. Has not even acknowledged that Newcastle's placed the bid in. They've just said he's not part of the matchday squad. The Newcastle interest there. He is livid. I can tell you he's livid. You can tell Newcastle is one of those clubs out there that does not have any association with Romano. So, yeah, heavily biased. I'm telling you now, if this was Liverpool related, oh my God, it would be going through the roof. So, yeah, I can just see the agenda-driven coming through from Romano's tweet there. But when I look back at this situation, Manchester United are also confident as well. And I can understand historically when you look at Manchester United, but they're rubbish. They're garbage. They are dog water. They're not good. They're not a good team. It's not 1998 anymore when you're pushing up to get that treble this season afterwards. It's not 2008 when they got Cristiano Ronaldo, Rooney and Tevez amongst it. They haven't got these players anymore. It's a team that's got Højlund, who's terrible. Leipzig want Højlund as well, so maybe that could be something that goes their way, but Højlund does not want to go to Leipzig, so that is the potential deal ender there. Our players and Bruno Cunha are good signs for them, but they're just not the Manchester United old, and you've got to look at them in that respect. Manchester United fans come across as if it's still 2010. It's not. It's a long time since that, and Manchester United are just nowhere near it anymore. And Newcastle's project for what we are offering now and what we have now with Champions League football, just won silverware. Newcastle was a good move for the player to make, and it's a real prospect move for him to push on. And especially if he knows he's going to be number one at Newcastle with an Isak sale, I think Sesko would be all over it. And it's highly potentially possible that we could sign. But at the same time, you might just want Manchester United. I don't personally know. I don't know the answer. I don't know the future. But what we do know now is that Newcastle believes they can get Sesko, because otherwise they would not even be in that situation now. Finally walking away from this video, it's now just been reported by Ornstein that Isak is returning to training next week. He'll have the one-on-one time with Eddie Howe. He'll have the time with Newcastle. Eddie Howe will have that chance to be in the room with the player by himself, and he can just talk through it. He'll be able to understand in the player's point of view, and he'll be able to hopefully convince the player to stick around a bit more. Eddie Howe and the players have always said we want Isak to stay, and while we as fans are always been quite vocal against that, ultimately the manager and the players are going to have a lot of control on this. If they are able to help the player out, if the player feels welcome, if the player all of a sudden has a change of heart and now wants to be committed for another season to Newcastle, then maybe Eddie Howe has that dream that he wanted to keep hold of the player this summer. And it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens at the training ground next week. So, yeah, real opportunity for Newcastle. Sesko's a big one. We need to land Sesko, in my opinion. If you don't land Sesko this summer, I don't think you can sell Isak, because Sesko, in my opinion, is the only Isak-esque replacement we are realistically going to sign. He's the only player I think that is high enough and good enough to be up there with him. And from the other players being linked to, I just don't think they are of an Isak quality. So let's make sure we push through with Sesko. Let's give our all. Let's get this player through. And let's see what happens to Isak next. He's been essentially dragged back to Newcastle after his little time out in Spain. So let's see when the club gets back from the Asia tour what are they going to do? Because we are wrapping things up tomorrow, and once the match is done, they are flying back straight away. So they are not messing around. They're on the plane the second the game ends, and they're going to be heading straight back to Newcastle. And I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen once they get back there. Isak stuff's still ongoing, still going to keep going, and it's not going to change anytime soon. But he will be returning to training, as Newcastle is now attempting to sign Benjamin Sesko. So what is going to happen next at this football club? Let me know down in the comments section, because this is hard to predict. It's a hard one to call. Could Newcastle actually have a chance of keeping the striker after the weeks upon weeks of backstabbing and drama going on in the back rooms?